Hey guys, totally Randy here. It's National Day. You had me at Rosé. It is National Rosé Day, okay, for all my wine enthusiasts out there. Now, Rosé might probably be the oldest type of wine. It dates back to, I believe, 600 BC, and that is not before Corona. All right, but the actual National Rosé Day, would not be founded until 2014 when Bolvar, I believe I'm saying that right, they specialize in rosé wines. And so they said, you know what, let's celebrate rosé all day. But first, we're going to stop and smell the rosé with wine blogger and specialist Monica Jones. So, hey guys, I have my girl Monica Jones here. Now, I'm telling you, this woman is absolutely amazing. I would roll out a list of like literal brags, but I want to talk about specifically, she is the founder of theblackwino.com. Okay, I'll make sure I drop that somewhere below. And it's a blog dedicated to creating a simplified approach to wine consumption for millennials of color. Now, that's not the only thing she does is blog about wine and tell millennials about it. What I love about this aspect of the blackwino.com is that she curates experiences that creates a space for the African American dollar and connects them to wineries. So thank you, Monica, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Randy. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here, especially on National Rosé Day. So it's perfect for me to be on, talk about my brand and what rosé is as a lifestyle now. So I'm excited to be here.
Right, and you look fabulous, by the way. I'm always like, give me some life when she's posting.
Yes, well, right now I'm still, in my quarantine phase, so I'm trying to manage my beauty the best I can.
Aren't we all? Well, obviously, you knew it was a National Rosé Day.
Right.
You was prepped and ready for it. But before we get into that, and we tell people who may not be wine drinkers or who just may not know what they like, but know that they like a rosé, before we get your expertise on what we should be drinking today, sipping. Yeah. Just tell us a little bit of how you were inspired and why you started the blackwino.com.
Gotcha. Well, you said a whole spill there earlier, which was basically a summary of what the Black Wino is. A couple of years ago, starting out as a lifestyle blogger for certain local sites here in Houston, I had the opportunity to cover different wine brands and kind of get, I guess you can say, a real firsthand look at some of the marketing tactics and strategies that these brands had. And I noticed that there was a lack of promotion or advertisement towards the Black consumer. So noticing that and kind of realizing that, yeah, not only am myself do I consider myself a wine enthusiast and avid wine drinker, there are people that look just like me who not only go out to buy your everyday bottles of wine, but they are even wine collectors and are interested in wine education. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to join this space because currently there are so many, and I'm not going to say so many, but there are a handful of Black bloggers, Black wine journalists that are creating a larger space and more opportunities for people that look like me. So knowing all of this, I thought it was the perfect time to just come into the space with my experience, like I said, locally blogging, and just add my own flair on it, specifically focusing on Texas wine brands and the Texas winemaking production process. So that's something that I guess have a niche compared to some of the other wine bloggers. I specifically like to focus a lot on the beauty of real Texas wine in some of our regions here. So, that is the love and the voice that I put behind all of my content on the blackwino.com. And like you said earlier, just trying to connect these wine enthusiasts who look like me to these wineries and these tasting rooms here locally that normally don't craft or open up spaces for us.
Given the current environment that we are in, there's a lot of companies, put out statements about their efforts when it comes to equality and justice for African Americans. One thing I loved about your blog is that you put that the African American dollar is 1.2 trillion. And so are they apologizing to the African American dollar? And then we're still going to see the same none representation.
Right. Yeah, I think if history is true and repeats itself, we are not going to see much change from these mega brands and 500 Fortune 500 companies, specifically because they've done these donations before. They've had a whole trend in the last 2 years where there was a big push for diversity and inclusion programs and managers and executive leadership. And none of that has actually trickled down into the work culture, not even into the marketing for some of these brands that we see today. So to me, I think it's just something that's going to be temporary. It's just one element of the current movement, and we're going to need Black individuals to really take it and run with it, which is what I feel like we are doing right now with supporting a lot of Black businesses. So we are recirculating that Black dollar, which is 1.2 trillion, into our own pockets. You know, brands that support us, that are built by us, and I think that is what is going to really set the tone for what we see in the next 5 years, because as we know, Black individuals are the culture. We are influence. And so once these brands pick up on, oh, okay, well, guess what they're doing in these markets?
Right.
We could have been doing that all along. So, you know, again, I think it's going to take us to really get behind these small businesses and Black entrepreneurs for other entities to really see our value, sadly.
That's absolutely amazing. And for this particular avenue, I'm definitely going to look for your leadership on that.
Yeah, no, I'm always trying to support Black-owned brands. Again, we are thriving in the wine industry, from winemakers to distributors, Black bloggers and journalists. So the industry's growing. I'm proud to be a part of the industry at this point in time. Like I said, my blog is brand new. I just started it in October of 2019, but I've been blogging about spirits and beverages for several years. But again, just really getting deep into the wine industry now, connecting with other bloggers. You see that there is a sense of pride, there is a sense of tradition, and creation, just to build something of our own. So that's what I truly love about these brands.
That's amazing. Now, speaking of that, Cynthia Bailey, she just, shout out to Cynthia Bailey too, because she has her wine cellar in Atlanta. And I thought that was amazing. She just reopened because they did shut down because of COVID. And now, right. So she just reopened June 11th, actually.
Awesome.
She just,
okay, that was literally the other day. Perfect.
Yeah, I was like, what? I just looked at it, catching up on my Real Housewives of Atlanta. And guys, that's my guilty pleasure. Okay.
Right.
I sometimes when I'm done working and creating, I just want to sit, watch something, and not even have to think. Okay. And I know that Cynthia is not a sommelier, but you know, she has this wine cellar. Like, what was your thoughts on that? Like, do you think Kenya was trying to educate her, or what happened?
Right. Well, it's Kenya. Let's be honest. You know, Kenya is catty, okay?
Right.
And so I definitely think that it was more of trying to show Cynthia up as far as her knowledge, and just kind of testing her to see maybe why she even got into wine, or what was her purpose for trying to start a wine cellar. And the truth is, and I will speak up for Cynthia, because you only have to love to drink wine to get into the wine business. That is so true. You do not have to be passionate about wine. You do not have to be well educated about wine. Honestly, it just takes investment and a couple of people who know the winemaking process, and also just to run a tasting room. Once you work with distributors who can bring in quality wines for sipping and consumption at a cellar like Cynthia's in Atlanta, then you have a successful business. I think it's great that a Black woman, as we were just talking about, Black individuals coming into this space and offering up similar experiences that white America gets at Napa and or France. I think it's great to have Atlanta, which is known as Black America almost, have a Black woman owned business. And so kudos to Cynthia for, you know, just doing it. You know, maybe she
Right.
did not have enough education behind, but she's continually learning and building her, repertoire in wine, and hopefully she has people who are very skilled, who are working with her company and brand. So
And
shame
I'm
on you,
glad you said
Kenya.
that.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm glad
shame
you
on you,
said that
girl.
actually, because I think people do feel like, especially in the Black culture, they feel like, they kind of mimic what they've been seeing on TV. You have your wine glass and you're twirling it, and then you're
Right.
sipping it, and then you're swishing it around, and that's what they think is wine education. They think that
Hmm.
you have to get it from a wine steward. Like if a wine
Right.
steward isn't telling you about wine, then you're not learning anything. And that's absolutely not true. And so that's why I brought that up, because I was like, man, we kind of typically do feel like if we don't know exactly the answer to everything when it comes to wine, then we're
Yeah.
not knowledgeable.
Exactly. And that's again another reason why I started the Black Wino. When I would go and visit wine shops or wine bars solo, it's intimidating to sit down and you're looking at this menu and half of the wines you can't even pronounce because they're in French, and then you're like, okay, should I go red? Should I go white? It's really overwhelming. So just like I say, you are your best teacher because you are finding what your palate works, what works well with your palate. So to me, yes, getting advice from wine stewardess and wine tenders or sommeliers, that's great. But you are going to know what suits your palate best after you consume so many wines and you figure out what works well.
Right. So speaking of rose all day today,
Hi. Yes.
tell us what you're drinking, and
Oh man.
you know, give us some advice on what we should get.
Right. Yeah. I'm so excited about today. Typically, and I feel like I'm probably going to be drunk by 5 o'clock, off a combo of rose cocktails, froze days, and
Right.
glasses of rose if I can handle it. I typically go to wine bars here locally in the city. With COVID, it makes it a little bit harder to do so and
Right.
not as safe. So, I definitely suggest if you are going out to, of course, wear your mask, but there are certain spots here that have specials all day. So I'll be drinking pretty much everything. But what I recommend for today is any dry rosé wines, sparklings. My favorite sparkling wine is Gruet, which is a brand out of New Mexico. It's really, yeah, it's not your typical wine region. So what I like about it, it's semi-sweet, but it has a little bit of dryness to it. So probably demi-sec. And I love a good sparkle. Like you said earlier, you love rosé, sparkling rosés and mimosas. And so I think
Yes.
too, that gives it just a little bit of kick. It gives it a little bit of, extra razzle dazzle from an
Right.
ordinary mimosa. What else? I have a couple here that I brought. William Chris is another brand that I actually love and work with all the time. They are a Texas owned brand right out of Texas Hill Country. They get a lot of their grapes from the Texas High Plains up in the Lubbock area. So they produce a lot of great rosé wines.
If you haven't been to the Texas Hill Country, you're missing out.
Yeah, definitely take a weekend down there. I always suggest any time between now and October, which is perfect. The weather is just perfect up there. Lastly, I would say the McBride sisters. They are a Black-owned, woman-owned brand. They have a Black Girl Magic Rosé that is fabulous. It is so good. It's so smooth. And so that's something you can just pick up at Kroger. They have it there at some of the area
Really?
Krogers here. Yeah, yeah. Kroger actually carries all of the McBride sisters wines, I believe, even their Sauvignon Blanc. And they also have a sparkling wine as well.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna, and you guys follow these wines too.
Rosé is for the community.
Right.
So yes, we're creating a community of rosé lovers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's time for us to pour up. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're gonna pour up our rosé and enjoy it. And I suggest you guys do the same. Make sure you check out the wines. that Monica mentioned. Also, make sure you follow her, follow me, follow It's National Day, and we'll see you another time.
You guys, cheers.